We have finally reached the playoffs. We've got Super Wild Card Weekend coming up. This is an early first look, taking a look at some of these slates we got going on. We're talking playoffs here.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
Oh, we're going to talk about playoffs. Let's do it. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, hey, man, we did it. We got through the season. We did another season here. Pretty good year overall. We had some kind of shitty football to start the year off. Seems like, it was really interesting to actually watch games that mattered, that really mattered. This past weekend, it was nice. Now we have the entire playoff picture ready to go. We have a nice, awesome wild card weekend. I think this particular show, we're just going to kind of casually go through things. It's not going to be as laid out as we usually would, but we wanted to just kind of talk through some of these matchups, talk through some of the different slates that we have offered for us. Anyways, Ellie, what are your thoughts, man? This is awesome, right? We're finally at playoffs. We're finally got some good games, and there's some good matchups here, especially this weekend.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad to see the season end on the note that it did. But I hope the NFL doesn't get some convoluted idea in their head that they did a great job with scheduling just because we had that awesome primetime game on Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Like that's more let's give credit to the Lions. The Lions and that head coach is what made that game mean something. The scheduling, they pretty much took the best of a bad situation and put those guys in there, hoping Dan Campbell could get those guys fired up, which he did. So, honestly, I'm glad to get this first look going because I'm still tilting Jamison Williams getting his touchdown called back. Man, that was one thing we talked about on the show, right? Like I was very adamant about that. Like the dude is faster than Jalen Waddle. Like he's gonna get one target, and it's gonna be an opportunity to score a touchdown.
Yeah,
and of course it got called back. But
of course,
overall, like it was really cool watching them win that game.
All right, well, let's get into this weekend. As you can see here, the bracket. So we've got 6 games this weekend. And what jumps out to you here, man? Like, what are some of these matchups that you're looking forward to? To me, it feels like the Bills are going to absolutely annihilate the Dolphins. We don't even know if Tua is going to play. Waddle's questionable. There's a lot up in the air. You could have a third-string quarterback. I think that's an ass whooping, especially in Buffalo. What matchup jumps out to you as being like, hey, this could be an actual real good game here?
So this might sound a little bit crazy, but out of all these games that I see here, I think the most exciting game is probably going to end up being Jacksonville and Los Angeles Chargers. We don't know what defense they're going to get from either team. They could both be fun to watch, or they could both be ass. And you've got 2 solid quarterbacks with some elite weapons there. I think that game could be an absolute blast to watch. But overall, seeding kind of worked out for the playoffs here, right? Seattle, San Francisco, that's fun. You brought up a little nugget pregame when we were talking, or pre-show when we were talking, but we've been talking all season how difficult it is to beat teams multiple times. San Francisco's swept the regular season series, right? So, that's a little nugget to think on, right? Beating an NFL team 3 times in a row is crazy. And we saw what happened. Marshawn Lynch, and that was Beastquake. That was the team that was like 7-9. They won a playoff game against the Saints. I know it was on a division opponent there, but don't sleep on Seattle. When you have a team with talent and a head coach, it's something that you got to keep an eye on. But
yeah, exactly.
Overall, these look like fun games, man. I'm going to enjoy next weekend drinking and watching these the entire weekend.
Oh, yeah. So for Saturday slate, it's a 2-gamer. Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco heavily favored, 42.5-point total. Chargers, the night game there. Chargers going into Jacksonville. That's kind of a pick 'em. Chargers are -1 road favorites. So that's a pretty interesting 2-game slate. There's a Millie Maker contest open. There's a lot of big contests for that, so that's going to be fun to do a 2-gamer. And then you got Sunday, Miami traveling into Buffalo. Buffalo's a 10-point favorite. It's a 43.5 total. And then you got New York Giants going into Minnesota. Minnesota's 3-point favorite at home, 48.5 point total. And then rounding off that Sunday, this is going to be a showdown slate that we're going to do as well, a showdown video for this Sunday night game. That's Baltimore going into Cincinnati. Cincinnati favored as of now, 6 points, 43.5 total. We're kind of waiting on Lamar Jackson news. Is he going to play or not? That's going to change a lot. I don't even think it matters. Even if Lamar does play, I don't think it matters. He hasn't been on the field in a few months now. I think that's an ass whooping there. And then this game is interesting. Dallas going into Tampa. Dallas road favorites. It's a 45.5 total. A lot of people are, consensus online that I've been seeing is, Dallas hasn't looked good recently, and they're going to have another first-round exit. I don't think it's going to happen, man. I think Dallas is going to come out and absolutely whoop ass. I think Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady, this is his last game as a Buccaneer. I think he goes to the Dolphins next year or something like that. And I think that's it for him with the Buccaneers. So what are your thoughts here, man? Anything else jump out to you? Do you agree, disagree with anything I just said?
The Dallas take is interesting, but I think you set that up and you pointed that out. Consensus is that it's Tom Brady, right? So it's going to be hard to kind of doubt him. I understand that Vegas is set the line at Dallas -3 points, but we'll see. At the end of the day, Tom Brady, Chris Evans, Chris Evans, God damn it, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right? Julio Jones, right? Julio hasn't played all year. They've been rotating and saving all these guys. All they needed to do was make the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting, man. I'm actually pretty excited for that game. Let's see how washed Tom Brady really is. But the other one is the Giants in Minnesota, man. I think that I really think that there's a real possibility the Giants beat the Vikings. They really don't have anything to lose. The Giants were a shitty team last year. And they just squeaked in the playoffs, and everybody's still not giving them that credit. So Minnesota's a team that's ripe for just, I don't know, what are they minus 14 in point differential? That's crazy for a team that won the division. So I think Minnesota could lose that game.
When they lose, they get their ass kicked, and when they win, they win by 1 point or they'll one possession. It's either overtime game, a great ending that they win, or they get absolutely annihilated. All right, let's talk about injuries here.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So I'm just going to kind of go through this sort of game by game here, or actually in order of conference. So AFC, we're starting out with the Kansas City Chiefs. So Sky Moore is questionable. He didn't play last week. He was inactive. Mecole Hardman is questionable as well. He was inactive as well in the last game. Frank Clark, L'Jarius Sneed. Josh Allen is questionable. That's BS. That's an on paper sort of thing here. And feel free to stop me, Ellie, if you're seeing anything you want to talk about. The Bengals, relatively healthy. Alex Kappa, questionable. Eli Apple, questionable. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, that same toe injury that he's dealing with. He's probably fine. Now, let's talk about the Chargers real quick. One thing that, I really like the Chargers in this matchup, and I like them to actually go relatively deep in the playoffs, maybe win 2 games. But the coaching staff and just the decisions that these guys make, it just drives me absolutely nuts watching some of these decisions. I'm all for, ending the season on a strong note, go out there, try to win, get some momentum, whatever. They didn't have any reason to play their starters. We even had a panic moment before where we're trying to figure out, okay, well, now that the seedings are sort of, before that game locked on Sunday, we're trying to figure out, okay, well, shit, do we need to, are they going to play any of their players? And, I thought, hell no, there's no way they're going to play any of these guys. Maybe they play a quarter and then they sit everybody down. No, of course not. They played guys all the way pretty much to the end. And of course, guess who gets hurt? Mike Williams. That dude can get hurt walking out of the tunnel. And he's got a back problem, which he's had back issues for, it seems like, years. And he got hurt. So he's questionable. They risked basically when Mike Williams is on the field, it changes the whole dynamic of that team because they have that deep threat. They have that possession guy in Keenan Allen, across the middle. They can rely on those guys, and it really opens up options for Eckler, Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, guys like that. If Williams is out, it will open up some options, but I think that really, really hurts this team. And I think if Williams is out, I think Jacksonville has a shot there. Do you have any notes on that?
Yeah, I think the Chargers win this. I think their issue has been this whole time, getting into the dance, right? Getting into the playoffs. They haven't been able to do it. I mean, last year they lost to the Raiders, right? And that's what knocked them out, or some bullshit, or did they end up making it? Anyways, look, yeah, I can't remember, but it was something extremely disappointing and pretty on brand with the Chargers. Look, it was dumb as fuck for them to play their guys last week, but at the end of the day, they did. I think Mike Williams is fine. This is it. This is probably Williams and Keenan Allen's last chance to really make a playoff run. These guys have too much injury history, so I really think they're going to come out and play and put it all on the line. But other than that, man, I think getting into I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the Baltimore Ravens, that's really the injury that's going to matter the most.
Yeah,
obviously, whether or not Lamar Jackson plays. I think you and I disagree. I think Lamar Jackson is, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And just given what he does, what he does naturally is run the ball. And that's what this offense needs him to do. So he can show up and do that. But remember, he was dropping 350 and 4 touchdowns, 2 picks in what it was, the AFC divisional game. He wins in the playoffs despite what that team's doing. So I don't mind if Lamar Jackson plays. I actually think I'm looking at the Ravens to cover or even win outright.
Yeah.
But real important here is Gus Edwards. His head, which is kind of misleading on this site, they should list it as concussion.
Yeah.
Right. He's still in concussion protocol. He has to clear that shit.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then obviously from a DFS perspective, J.K. Dobbins becomes just a more elite play, or even Justice Hill if you're looking at Showdown. So that's a piece of information I'll be paying attention to too.
Look, clearly Lamar Jackson, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I will stop whatever I'm doing and watch a Lamar Jackson Baltimore Ravens game if he's playing. My question here is, how hurt was he really this year? Is this a contract thing? How long has he been out? 6-7 weeks, something like that. And why didn't they if it was that bad to start, wouldn't you just throw this dude on IR? I don't quite understand what's going on with Lamar Jackson. How hurt is he? If he's 100% and he was just chilling, just to chill because, whatever reason, because they had the playoffs locked up, that's a big deal if he's fully healthy. But if he's not fully healthy, I just don't think, I know he's a talented quarterback, but just jumping on the field with no practice basically and just starting to play a big playoff game against one of the AFC top teams, I don't see it happening.
So real quick on that, I do want to answer you on that. So listen, I think it's really easy to get caught up in that kind of perspective, but the one thing that is here is I don't know if they ever thought that they were truly, they had the chance to win the division, right? They were in the place to win the division, but I don't know if they were necessarily 100% bought in, and that's why they didn't put him on IR. Right, because if you put him on IR, he's out a minimum of 4 weeks. Yeah, I know he's been out 6 or 7, but what are you going to fill that roster spot with? Right, fucking Andy Isabella, right? That's all you're doing with. So, you have him there. What if him being active was the difference, or him being able to play might have been the difference between winning the division? Yeah. And in this case, it didn't really matter, right? He didn't need to play. They made the playoffs. I really think it's a little bit more about that. They make the playoffs and shit, they're going to unleash the dude. And in his case, he does have motivation to play in the playoffs because he's looking for that contract. He doesn't give a shit about the regular season. Big deal. So if he goes out and balls out and puts 350 up on the fucking Bengals, then they're paying him. So that we're spending way too much time on this. We'll move on.
All right. Speaking of head injuries, not concussion, but head apparently, Tua is questionable. He's still in concussion protocol. We don't, we're recording this Monday night late. By the time you're watching this on Tuesday morning, I don't think there's going to be any news. I think it's going to go all the way up until maybe the end of the week before we really know. But if he plays, it changes a lot. Look, concussions are serious things, obviously, but if he's cleared to play, that means he's good to play. He's going to be pretty much at full strength. And that changes everything. Teddy Bridgewater has a finger issue. He's got a knee issue. He's questionable. Raheem Mostert is questionable. What does he have, a broken thumb or something to that effect? He could play. If not, we have a lot of other options on this team, pretty good value options probably that we could play. Bradley Chubb is questionable. Anyways, if Tua plays, does that change the whole, I answered my question. It does. But how much, with Tua being in, are you expecting them to have a shot in this game against the Bills? Because, man, the Bills are a team of destiny. I don't see who can beat them.
Now this is I agree with you. First of all, the Bills are a team of destiny. Don't misconstrue anything I'm about to say. What happened with Damar Hamlin was one of the most serious things we've ever seen on a football field. But that's also one of those things that rallies the team together to overcome any fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We talk about narratives in football, and that's the one sport that narratives actually matter, because you have to win one game. You have to show up for a certain amount of plays. Right. And anyways, I'm not going to rant on Team of Destiny. Yes, I agree with you. But if Tua is back, he plays, and he makes that game interesting. I think Tua is going to end up retiring. I think he's done for the season. I think the injury is much more serious. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to end up getting the start. You can't put in that random dude, Tyquan Thornton, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Skylar Johnson, or I don't fucking know.
Same person.
All right.
Rashid Shaheed.
Let's go to all right. So let's go to the NFC. There's really not a whole lot to talk about here. If you go all the way down to probably the first notable injury to really talk about is Mike Evans. He's questionable with an illness. Kyle Rudolph questionable. Julio Jones questionable. Vita Vea questionable. This team has been a mess the whole year. If Mike Evans plays, which I think he will, he's pretty much perpetually questionable at this point in his career. I think they have a shot, but I do think that Dallas can come out and win that game. Kyle Vander Esch, or Leighton Vander Esch, sorry, for the Cowboys is questionable. Really nothing else to talk about here besides the Seahawks. You've got Tyler Lockett with a shin injury, he's questionable, Noah Fant, and then Kenneth Walker. Thoughts on that? It seems like to me like these guys will play, but you just never know. If any of these guys are out, it's just going to hurt their chances so much more. They're already kind of in a hole here. Anything else to talk about with these injuries? You want to get to this two-gamer?
No, let's get into the two-gamer. I agree with you. All those guys are going to play.
All right, let's get into this two-gamer. Let's actually we're gonna break this down. That's how we're gonna do it. Break it down. All right, so obviously this two-gamer, this is for Saturday, Millie Maker. We've got Seattle, San Francisco, Chargers, Jacksonville, Justin Herbert, 6,600, Trevor Lawrence, 5,700, Brock Purdy, 5,500, and Geno Smith, 5,600. Obviously, Herbert and Lawrence are going to be pretty popular. I mean, if you only had to pay up $200 to get to Lawrence over Purdy, and then $100 to get from Geno to Lawrence, I feel like that's probably your best bet going against the Chargers. I think that can be sort of a shootout. But what do we do here, man? Like, we're obviously going to want to be stacking, and that all starts with our quarterback. So what do you think about the ownership here? Probably, obviously, Herbert's going to be pretty high owned, but what are your thoughts on, like, Purdy coming in pretty high owned because just he's on a dominant team?
Yeah, man. So look, I'm gonna have to practice building with some of these guys, but obviously Justin Herbert's gonna be the top play. He's got two of the top targets. I expect Mike Williams to show up, and he's been settling in very nicely with Gerald Everett and Austin Eckler. So I think initially what I'm probably gonna end up doing here is just stacking the hell out of that game. I think you're right on. I think Trevor Lawrence is probably going to end up being the chalkiest quarterback play of Saturday, just because he's priced $200 more than fucking Brock Purdy for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin Herbert's pretty expensive. So stacking the Chargers and running it back, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, I think mixing in your run back, maxing it out, put more people in there. I think people get a little bit shy on these short slates to load up their roster. But look, that game's going to have the highest total. We're probably going to see a 38-40 point total for the later game and play some defense. But yeah, man.
So we're going to do another two-gamer show like we did last week. We're not going to do a Sunday three-gamer slate. We're going to end up doing the Sunday Showdown and the Monday Showdown. But these two gamers, man, it's a showdown main slate hybrid. You can really get deep into some of these crazy stacks. You can play third string, fourth string wide receivers. You can play these random ass dudes. That's why I love these two gamers. I like Showdown more, but this is going to be pretty interesting, pretty fun. Let's move over to running backs. Christian McCaffrey. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay, my bad. I'm getting confused. There's so many games here. Christian McCaffrey at 8,500. Austin Eckler 8,100. That's like your top tier here. And then you got Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker if he's available, which he probably will be. And then even Eli Mitchell at 4,700 is interesting. So what jumps out to you here? Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, clearly he's going to be the most popular player on the slate, most likely, because he's the kind of guy that his floor is so high. Even if he has an average game, you're still going to probably need him in your running back spot or your flex. So what are your thoughts here, man? I love Austin Eckler. I always love Austin Eckler. I think you got to try to get both of these guys involved quite a bit, right?
Yeah, man. Just as first look, that's where I would immediately become a little bit contrarian, right? The one thing about running backs is like the PPR upside. Now, of course, we're talking about the two fucking best in the NFL, the PPR upside. But look, you're paying 8,500 and 8,100. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of salary to try and jam those two dudes in. So I think to your point, the way that you get unique playing those guys is you play both of them as much as you possibly can and force the handcuff, right? Pay up and then pay up for another quality person or whatever, studs and scrubs, stars and scrubs. Or you come down to ETN and Walker and you jam in high-priced wide receivers and tight ends. So look, you can't really get much deeper than that. I think Eli Mitchell is the only potential backup from the bench, but running back's going to be a weird position, right? Because I'm not fucking playing DJ Dallas at 4,200. Yeah. Josh Kelly at 5K. Like if he was $200, we would play on Showdown for sure. But I'm not playing 4K Larry Roundtree, right? So we're going to have to find a way to play these running backs in a combination that's not going to completely fuck us, but give us some flexibility to also get some high upside.
McCaffrey, Eckler, ETN, Walker, and then sprinkle in some Mitchell. Those are really the only guys I'm interested in. I like your idea about McCaffrey and Eckler together. I think their PPR upside is just, it keeps their floor so high that if you jam both of them in together, that's going to be pretty unique in my opinion. Let's go to wide receivers.
And just while you're pulling that up, look, it's Brock Purdy, man. Kyle Shanahan can hand the ball off 35 fucking times.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Deebo Samuel's 5,700. He's finally back. He came back last week against the Cardinals. They just sort of eased him in that game. I fully expect him to be 100% and the same old Deebo Samuel that we're used to. And he's $5,700, man. I feel like he, when I crunched with no settings, like 100 lineups, he was in 91% of my lineups. It's a good projection. In fact, he's actually projected as of right now the highest out of all these wide receivers, which is very interesting. Keenan Allen, 7K. Christian Kirk, 5,900. DK Metcalf, 6,200. You got Mike Williams at 6,100. Tyler Lockett. Anyways, I could just keep going down this list here. There's plenty of dudes that we want to play. I'm willing to go way low on this. So thoughts here, man. Deebo is a great value. It's a little bit of a question mark because we haven't really seen him in a handful of weeks and we haven't seen him dominate for most of this season. And it kind of changes the whole dynamic of having Christian McCaffrey there changes things. You're probably not going to get as many reps or many opportunities for Deebo, but man, I really love him in this spot. I think it's a little bit risky, but at the same time, it's still Deebo Samuel, right?
Yeah, man, 5,700. I expect him to kind of work back into RB2. I know Eli Mitchell crushed it last week, but Deebo is just one of those guys who you get the ball in his hands. And at 5,700, I'm fine getting a healthy exposure to him. And it's going to be kind of interesting here, right? Because I want to see what initial ownership projections are. That is low. We're used to seeing Deebo closer to 7,100 during the regular season on main slate. But Christian Kirk at 5,900, that's an interesting pivot off of Deebo for me. Pay up a little bit, right? Most people are going to see that you can pay at $200 less and go get Deebo Samuel. It's going to get some rushing upside, and I think they're going to take that option. But Christian Kirk's he's a prime GPP play. I mean, you just saw it, 16 points or 8. 25, whatever it is. Like I like him. But look, I don't want to get too heavy into this. We'll get into it a little bit later on. But you see the prices here on these wide receivers. Like I think you can get Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler and still be okay. Like Zay Jones priced at 4,300. That's a price I'm interested in.
Oh yeah.
Marvin Jones at 3,400 against this garbage LA Chargers defense. I'm interested in. Right.
Yeah.
Like even Juwan Jennings, 3,300. Like that's a fine 20 max or 150 dart throw. So like I think there's going to be some flexibility here, and I don't know. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm looking at the wide receivers, I think the Austin Eckler, McCaffrey together, it probably will be pretty popular now that I'm really looking at it. But probably one of my favorite stacks is going to be this Charger stack. If Mike Williams is out, I think that really opens up for a guy like Josh Palmer, because we saw Josh Palmer step up without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. He was kind of that number one go-to guy when these guys were hurt. And he looked really good, Josh Palmer did. He's 5,300. You can mix, Keenan Allen. On a slate like this, you can go Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, or Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler. I really do think you can do all that. And then run it back with like Zay Jones or Christian Kirk or Evan Ingram or whatever.
Both.
What'd you say?
Christian Kirk, run it back with both. Dude,
Yeah.
That's what I did last week. I ran it back with Kirk and Zay Jones. I love that shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're gonna do a whole breakdown on this 2-gamer. So let's just try to get through these tight ends here. We're gonna do that. That'll be available on Friday morning for you guys. George Kittle 5,900, Evan Ingram 4,200, Gerald Everett 3,800, and then some other dudes here. Noah Fant is questionable as well. So look, Kittle has been crushing. Evan Ingram has been crushing at 4,200. Gerald Everett is a good option along with that stack at 3,800. I mean, you probably got to go with a guy like Kittle here, but also as we get farther along, we're gonna have to open up this player pool a little bit and look closer at some of these random dudes, because there's just not a lot of tight ends that we're gonna want to play. When we looked at that last Saturday 2-gamer, that was kind of a situation where we wanted to play 2 tight ends, one in the tight end spot, one in the flex. I don't think we're going to want to do that in this particular case, but it's worth mentioning here. George Kittle is a smash play, obviously. Evan Ingram and Everett. I think those 3 guys are the only guys that I'm really going to try to sprinkle in more than the field, and then everybody else kind of just falls along where they fall along. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna prioritize Kittle. I think Everett's probably my tight end too. Listen, Evan Ingram, he had a great game. I just not bought into the guy until he's consistently doing it. I've just seen too much bullshit over the past 25 years from him.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then Fant and Parkinson, they're obviously always in play. Tight end's the one position that you can really need to consider punting on, just because it has the second lowest minimum salary at 2,500.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you think that guy's going to get 6 fantasy points, fucking punt, get the other $4,000, spend it elsewhere.
Yep. So defense, 49ers are the most expensive at 3,600. Then you have Jaguars, 2,700. Seahawks, the cheapest, and then you have Chargers at 3,100. I think the obvious play is clearly the 49ers here. They're going to be incredibly popular. But like we did last time, I mean, the Jaguars defense sort of bailed everybody out in that last game. But I think in this case, you just really got to spread out. Like last time, I think I maxed everybody at like 30%. I think this situation of 49ers, I'm going to probably just max them at 30% as well to try. And then I'm going to jack that randomness way up, because the 49ers could absolutely go off. And if they're 40, 50% owned and they score 12, 15 fantasy points, you're probably going to screw you. But more likely than not, 6, 7, 8 fantasy points for the best defense here might probably be the amount that you're looking at. So what do we do with defenses here on a 4-team 2-game slate?
I mean, look, the 49ers are justified chalk, but again, I'm not sure they're going to win 3 times in a row. Look, I'm going to use the same strategy I had last time. Yes, the Jags did technically bail out the people who paid for them, but they only had 1 more point more than the Chiefs. So sometimes that matters. So I don't know, man. But worry about everything else, and then if you have to punt at tight end and defense, I think those are the safest places to do it.
All right, let's get into our Sunday slate here. Let's go back to the quarterback spot. Let me move the ticker at the top there. All right, so Sunday 3-gamer. If you're skipping around, we got Miami at Buffalo, Giants at Minnesota, and Baltimore at Cincinnati. So let's look at the quarterbacks here. Josh Allen, 7,900. Kirk Cousins, 5,900. Joe Burrow, 6,900. And I'm in order of projection here. Sorry, I blanked out there for a second. Let me do it in order of salary because it's a little bit easier here. Lamar Jackson, 6,800 if he plays. Daniel Jones, Skylar Thompson. So everybody and their brother is going to be playing Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And Josh Allen has the highest chances of being the highest scorer. Clearly, he's the best play on the slate, but he's expensive, and you're going to have to pair him with some of the other expensive dudes. And Joe Burrow, you save $1,000. I mean, there's a world where Joe Burrow comes out and outscores Josh Allen. I mean, and plus, I feel like the Joe Burrow stacks. There's a lot of options there. Anyways, what do we do with these two guys, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow? They're going to be very popular, and the rest of these guys are going to be kind of low owned.
If you're running a single entry, or something like that, 3 entry, then Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, probably your top options here. But I'm really looking at guys like Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones. I really think that Giants Vikings is probably going to be the most competitive game that we get on Sunday. Excuse me. So I think that's where we're going to have the more opportunity for better stacks, like $5,900 Kirk Cousins, and I can go get Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson and even maybe Dalvin Cook. Like,
yeah,
that seems pretty reasonable. You can throw in Isaiah McKenzie or somebody, pieces from the other games, right? But Buffalo should beat the shit out of Miami. So Josh Allen may not even be needed in the optimal lineup. Joe Burrow, again, like if Lamar's not healthy, you really think that a third string or second string quarterback is going to come out and we've seen years of this shit in Arizona. Backup quarterbacks do not win in the playoffs. Yeah. So, Joe Burrow is going to, it sets up nicely for Joe Mixon. I think the most competitive game we're going to get is going to be that Giants Vikings game.
Yeah.
So I'm really going to be looking at stacking that and then getting kind of like the high end studs from some of the other games.
Yeah. I mean, if Tua plays at 6,300, pairing him with, Tyreek and Waddle, that's interesting. I don't think anybody's going to do that. I think Tyreek Hill's ownership is going to be really low. Obviously, if Tua is announced in like earlier in the week, that'll help their ownership, obviously. I mean, I'm looking at even guys like Daniel Jones. We know about his rushing upside, and look, at 5,600, he's going to be the lowest owned quarterback besides maybe the Skylar Thompson guy if he ends up playing. But another question I had for you is, are you doing any naked Lamar stacks if he's fully healthy? Are you probably got to pair him with one dude like Andrews or Demarcus Robinson or one of these guys, right?
Yeah, man. So yes, you can run naked Lamar stacks, and to be quite frank, you can probably do it with Josh Allen too. Just if we're going to talk about it, but I don't think you need to. If Lamar plays, I think you grab Mark Andrews and D-Rob and Isaiah Likely. Fuck it, stack it all up together, yeah. Or J.K. Dobbins. But otherwise, again, I don't think he's going to end up playing, man. So we'll see.
Lamar?
Him and Tua, it's a weird situation.
Yeah, you don't think he's going to play?
I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards not.
Yeah. All right, let's go to running backs. Saquon, 7,900. Dalvin Cook, 7,100. Then you got Joe Mixon. Raheem Mostert's questionable. We don't know if he's going to play. That opens up the door for a guy like Jeff Wilson at 5,400, but he's not. I mean, you were hoping that Jeff Wilson would be a lot lower price, but obviously the injury happened before they released pricing, so they're kind of preparing us to play Jeff Wilson. So it's not that great of a value at 5,400, and going up against Buffalo, it's not like a good matchup either. This team could be down by a lot. So what are your thoughts on these Dolphins running backs? And then, what's your interest in Cook, Mixon, and Barkley here?
So I think I'm a little bit more interested in the other Cook. And what's his price at?
Oh yeah, let me go down. James Cook's 4,800. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, so I think this is the opposite situation that we're looking on the Saturday slate, right? Like, I don't mind getting exposure to a guy like James Cook and punting in the position. Now, Gus Edwards is probably going to be ruled out, so I think J.K. Dobbins becomes a little bit more interesting. Again, not really that expensive either, 5,700, but this might be a week where you can kind of spend down. Now, granted, obviously, Saquon and Dalvin are two of the best running backs in the NFL, but at 79, 7,100, getting J.K. Dobbins and the upside that you're potentially going to get there, that $1,400 difference might be the difference between Justin Jefferson and, I don't know, Adam Thielen. Not to knock Thielen, but it matters.
Yeah. This is like the third or fourth. I brought this up before, but these special slates where Dalvin Cook and James Cook play on the same day, this is like the third or fourth time that's happened. That's kind of strange. The parents are got to be pissed about that. Singletary at 5,400. He always scares the hell out of me. Or 5,500, sorry. He always scares the hell out of me because he's one of these guys that no one ever wants to play, and as soon as he's low owned, he absolutely goes off. Any interest in him at all in this game at that price? I feel like I'd rather play, Jeff Wilson or even James Cook over him, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think James Cook is the guy I'd prioritize, but I like Jeff Wilson. I don't think I actually answered a question earlier. At one point, Mostert and Jeff Wilson were getting like 50-50 touches, right after they traded Chase Edmonds. So, look, he could be eased right back into that role, and at 5,800, that's still a decent value. So I like Mostert a lot, but Singletary, I just don't know how many stabs I'm going to take on him, right? If I look and I see that he's 5% owned on a 3-game slate, then I'm probably going to triple the field.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a 3-game slate, so we probably don't want to go down to Breida or Naheem Hines or Kenyon Drake or anything like that, because we do have that 3-gamer. So you still want to dig deep on some of these, but not that deep probably. Let's go to wide receivers here. So Justin Jefferson's 8,600, Jamar Chase 8,100, Tyreek Hill 79, Stephon Diggs 77. I'm kind of surprised. I know Stephon Diggs hasn't necessarily been crushing lately. He did have a nice game against New England, but I'm kind of surprised that Stephon Diggs is the cheapest guy here. I'm always interested in him. And obviously Justin Jefferson at 8,600, he's had 2 pretty bad weeks. One of those, he got locked down against Alexander. What do we do here, man? It's going to be hard to afford. This is, compared to the Saturday 2-gamer, this is completely opposite. I want to get as many wide receivers in as possible and maybe pay down at some of these running back positions. What do we do here, man? Jefferson, Chase, Hill, Diggs. Those are 4 guys I want to get involved. There's probably no chance we can get 3 of them. Probably, right?
I mean, look, I'm probably not, but if you're comfortable playing, Daniel Jones is your QB1 for a lot of matchups on Sunday, then yeah, you're probably going to be able to get a couple of these guys, right? This might sound crazy, but Daniel Jones is even a guy you might be able to run naked. He could end up with a rushing touchdown and 250 yards, right, and still end up being an optimal quarterback.
Yeah,
that kind of pricing is going to allow you to get JJ, Jamar Chase, and maybe one of these other guys like Hill or Stephon Diggs. But look, you're right on. This is a slate where you punt where you can, save as much money, and then try and pay up for these guys. Now, I think you grab pieces, right? Grab Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Don't necessarily, stack unless you have a quarterback going on with you. But say you're running Josh Allen or Joe Burrow at quarterback. Then maybe get into some of the softer price guys. Like if you have Joe Burrow, grab T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, or T. Higgins and Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
Or go Higgins, Hurst, and Jamar Chase, right? Get crazy with the fucking stack.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you approach it and try and get a little bit different. But I mean, again, they're just all, goddamn, look at those wide receivers from New York, man. They're priced so nice.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Could you imagine
on both the positions and pay up everywhere else?
Dude, if you're doing giant stacks, man, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Obviously, once the game starts, you might start to get a little depressed and scared, but being able to like jam in like a bunch of studs like Chase, Jefferson, Hill, Diggs, because you sort of pay down for this stack. Darius Slayton 4,200, Isaiah Hodgins 4,100, Richie James 3,900. And then obviously, Saquon is 7,900. That's pretty expensive if you wanted to pair him with them. But there's a lot of good options here, man. And look, we can even go down lower here. So a lot of these guys don't have projections at this moment. But Isaiah McKenzie, you always have to think about him. Even a guy like Trent Sherfield. You got Cole Beasley, who's been getting involved. He's 3K. Tyler Boyd is 4K. Anyways, there's
Didn't
a lot.
Shakir just have a touchdown on Sunday or something like that? Like,
John Brown had a touchdown.
John Brown.
Which we should talk about. Our boy Smokey Brown. I don't even know where he's at.
Even on the slate?
he is. I think I left him out of the player pool on accident because he had a 0 projection.
Is that Ricky Proehl's son? God damn it, we're
Blake Proehl. That sounds like a white guy. So probably Blake Proehl.
I'm gonna look that up,
dude. That's interesting.
No, it's not. To us, it is. Nobody else in the world knows who Ricky
I'm gonna have to
Proehl
look. I'm gonna have to look at it. Oh, you want to see something else crazy? Kwame Lassiter II. Isn't that
Nobody
crazy?
else knows who the fuck that is.
Oh, dude, Kwame Lassiter was the man back in the day for the Cardinals.
I love that dude.
All right. Anyways, anything else to talk about here? This is a first look. We're not getting into definitive shit. We're just kind of just chatting through it. Anything else that you want to talk about here with these? Like, there's a lot of good options here on the wide receivers here.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know, man. You're right on. Just fucking pay for these guys. They're the best. It's PPR. Like, these guys give you so much upside.
All right, tight ends. Mark Andrews, 5,200. TJ Hawkinson, 5,100. Then you got guys like Dawson Knox, Isaiah Likely. And then there you just have a bunch of, near min dudes that you could probably take stabs on here. But I'm kind of only interested in 3 dudes and maybe Isaiah Likely, Andrews, Hawkinson, Knox. And they don't really excite me much at all. Mark Andrews excites me only to the effect of about who's actually playing damn quarterback for them. Hawkinson, obviously. So what do we do here, man? These are all like GPP plays, I feel like. But it feels like to me, Andrews and Hawkinson are going to be the chalk for this position.
I sure as hell hope so, because Hayden Hurst is going to be my most owned tight end. 3,100. Like, he's just priced right to be either a punt or a fine play. He gets 5 points, fuck it, that works. If he gets 11, that's even great. But if he gets 0, like, I don't feel like he's killing you too much, and you're saving almost $1,500. That's the difference between playing a shitty wide receiver versus Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Mark Andrews, if Lamar plays, TJ Hawkinson's 100% in play. Excuse me, and then Dawson Knox at 4K. That's fine. Josh Allen's throwing the ball.
Yeah, anybody that Josh Allen's throwing the ball to, you're gonna want to get involved. I mean, those are decent numbers, and he's priced at 4K. Like, to me, that seems like he seems like the best option for just dudes that you're maybe not interested in. I actually even think that a guy like Dawson Knox is probably a better option than Mark Andrews, simply because you got Josh Allen throwing you the ball. We got to wait to see who's actually throwing the ball to Mark Andrews. All right, let's go to defense. This is going to be a lot easier to deal with on this 3-gamer than it was on the 2-gamer. Bengals are 3,500, Bills 3,300, Vikings 3,200. Then you go all the way down to the Dolphins at 2,300. I think every one of these defenses needs to be sprinkled in. The obvious play for me is probably the Bengals and the Bills, especially if you got Skylar Thompson starting for Miami, and especially for Baltimore if Lamar doesn't play. Those are going to be obviously the two best options. But I think this is another situation where you cap them at 25-30%, boost up the randomness, and just try to hope that you get the one defense that has a random touchdown in this slate. So what are your thoughts here?
I don't disagree with you at all. Honestly, I would cap it even lower. Like, if you're using an optimizer, cap that shit at 15%. The math's not going to add up, and the optimizer's going to have to literally force in the best play to go above your capping technique there.
Yeah.
3,300 Bills. They're a little bit expensive, but God damn it, don't underestimate the narrative. I know they got 2 kick return touchdowns yesterday. A team riding that high, that shit can last for a while. Other than that, just go with your best lineup and then jam in your defense.
So the Sunday 3-gamer is also a milli maker. I don't know what to expect yet with this Sunday night and Monday night these contests. I feel like the Monday night one will be pretty big. Maybe you'll get a bunch of good contests. The Sunday night, maybe not so much. So what do you want to talk about here for Sunday night, Monday night football? We don't really have any. We don't have the slates available to us. Actually, you want to check real quick on your phone, and see if that's available. It's about 11 p.m. Eastern that we're recording this on Monday night. Most likely in the morning when you guys are watching this, probably some information will be available. Probably some slates released. So give us a break here. We didn't quite have it. But hey, man, we're typically a Showdown show. We do a lot of Showdown content, and I'm very interested in this Monday night game. Obviously, we're looking at Dallas going into Tampa Bay. That's an 8:15 kickoff. That's the only game on Monday, so that's gonna, we're gonna have plenty of time to think about that and build. I think Dallas goes off and beats Tampa Bay in that game. Anyways, Ellie, did you notice anything up there yet?
Yeah, there's nothing up.
Okay.
They just got the Saturday games.
All right, so what are your thoughts on some of these games as we round this off? The Baltimore, Cincinnati, Dallas, and Tampa. Any thoughts there? Obviously, if Lamar plays, he's going to be incredibly popular on a Showdown slate, but seems to me like, Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those guys are going to be incredibly expensive, and you're going to have to figure out how to fit in, Burrow and two of these guys, and also get enough exposure on a guy like Joe Mixon. That's probably going to be difficult. And look, if Lamar plays, it's going to be hard to build for that. It's going to be pretty hard. There's going to be a lot of high-priced guys in that matchup. Any thoughts on that Sunday night game?
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna echo what we were talking about on the with the tight ends a little bit ago. I think Hayden Hurst is probably going to be the guy you want to target at potentially captain tomorrow night or on Sunday night. He's gonna be priced down. He'd probably be around 4,500 at the most, right? I'll probably see him around 3,100 again, right? Getting him at captain if Lamar Jackson is in probably give you what you need to get literally all the raw points possible. But look, I'm excited for the Monday night one just because I think you and I disagree a little bit here. I think you're a little bit higher on Dallas. Look, man, call it what you will. They've been bullshitting all season long. We know. We've been. It's been 20 fucking years, bro. We've been seeing it. We doubt Tom Brady. We doubt who he is. This might be the last chance that we get to see him show up. So. Yeah. You got and look, this is Julio Jones, his most realistic playoff run, right? Might be Mike Evans' last playoff run. Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, like all these guys. So don't underestimate that team, man. I really think that's going to be an exciting game. And watch, we're going to end up seeing another one of these like 27-3 games where Tom Brady's just fucking throwing Microsoft Surfaces across the field.
It could happen, man. I don't know. I just don't. It just feels like to me that this Bucks team the whole year is just struggling just to be a halfway decent team. They got lucky that they're in a shitty division. Hey, they still won their division. They're still in the playoffs. You have to give them credit for that, despite all their issues. But to me, it just feels like with all the
they feel like the Cardinals, right, bro? Like I don't want to be a dick, but like we've seen so much bullshit over the past like 15 years. The Cardinals undisciplined play, just stupid shit. You're like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I haven't heard one like national person talk about the fact that Bruce Arians isn't the coach anymore. Like the one thing that's changed from over the last few years is the head coach. Like, why aren't we talking about that? That's a big freaking deal. And I think that's affected their offense. Their offense has looked like shit, and they cannot run the ball. They cannot run the ball. So for me, a guy like Leonard Fournette, I might look at fading him. I know he's playoff Lenny. I get it. But Rachaad White, to me, he's going to probably be in the, around that kicker price range. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess right now he's going to be like 4,200 or something like that. And if that's the case, I'm playing plenty of Rachaad White. I'm getting my Mike Evans and Godwin captain exposure, but I'm going to go heavy. I'm going 4-2s or 2-4s with Dallas, CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, Noah Brown, Tony Pollard, Zeke. I mean, there's just so many great options, I feel like. And just the fact that Tampa Bay is very one-dimensional, I really don't like their chances in this game. But hey, we're talking about the Cowboys here. expect probably some stupid shit to happen, and probably they'll screw it up eventually. All right, so let's end this out here. So final thoughts. Obviously, we've got multiple great slates here. Thanks for joining us, by the way. This is a little bit different show for us, but I felt like we have the whole week off. There's really nothing else to talk about. We might as well just hey, shoot the shit and kind of talk about some of these slates. So what are you excited about this weekend, man? What are you looking forward to? Are you going to be playing a lot of these full day slates? Are you going to go individual games and do showdowns? What do you think?
So the one thing I'm excited about was something that happened this past weekend, right? We hit 1,000 subscribers. So
yeah,
guys, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing to the show. And hop into the Discord. We're giving away two $50 Draftkings gift cards, and the bot in there will help us determine the winner of that. So hop into the Discord, join that thing underneath Tyson's beard, or I guess attached to his bicep now. Scan it, and it will. There you go. It'll let you pop in there. But yeah, man, I'm just excited for the playoffs. We've had to bear through some bullshit Cardinals season again, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that Detroit Green Bay game did restore my faith in what good football looks like when the games actually mean something. So I'm really kind of excited for this weekend. I really think we got two gems in Chargers, Jaguars, and then the Giants Vikings. I think that one's going to be kind of shitty football, but it's going to be fun to watch.
I feel like if you're looking to get the most leverage, man, that game, you can really stack the shit out of that game with a lot of decent players, and you could continue to get all the studs from the other games in. The Diggs, the Chases, the Dalvin Cook types. There's a lot of good options there. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Throw us a like. Comment down below if you like the show, if you want to see more of this stuff from us. And we will see you for the 2-game Saturday slate. That show will be released on Friday morning. So if you haven't hit that bell, hit the bell. It'll let you know when that is released. See you later.